Welcome to Silver Bar Stacker, folks. I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying their Sunday. That's right, folks. Today is going to be an exciting one. As you can see, we've got tons and tons and tons of USVI stackers here in front of us, and there's a reason for that. We're not just showing off all of our bars. We actually have a goal today, and that goal today is inspired by one of our viewers or followers here at Silver Bar Stacker who actually reached out to us about a week ago. I mean, it's been almost about a week since this viewer has reached out to us with a very, very highly technical question regarding the USVI Ingot Company bars. Now, anybody who's into the USVI Ingot Company bars knows that, hey, there's many rabbit holes that you can go down, and there's new rabbit holes that we're uncovering maybe every single day, even as seasoned collectors. Now, when this individual reached out to me, they actually reached out to me with information that I actually didn't personally really know, or actually I was aware of it, but I wasn't actually aware of it, right? I knew about this thing that this collector told me about, but I didn't actually know that this was a thing that collectors obsessed over, just as an example. So I'm excited to share that piece of news regarding USVI Ingot Company stackers that is new to me, but then I also have maybe some information to share with you all that might be new to you and may or may not be new to the person who reached out to me. I mean, that person who reached out to me was a pretty serious collector. They were an advanced USVI collector, and they were on a mission. Okay, let me just explain to you what their mission is. Here's their mission. I mean, this is them reaching out to me about 6 days ago, and they're reaching out to me and saying, hey, Silver Bar Stacker, I have recently embarked on the endeavor of collecting examples of all 18 varieties of USVI 1-ounce bars, including 1 round. Now, I personally wasn't even aware off the top of my head that, hey, there are 18 varieties, but I believe him. You know, I believe that he has probably gone through, done his research. I mean, there are websites out there, and I'll link one of the websites in particular where I have uncovered a lot of the information that I know about these chunky little bad boys, these USVI Ingot Company chunky stackers, and there are some non-chunky bars that this company also produced as well. And so USVI Ingot Company is one of the few companies, but one of the companies that we specialize here in Silver Bar Stacker. And so for me, it is very important for me to know everything that I can know about these bars. And when there is new information that comes to light, it's very important for me that I obtain that knowledge as well. So when this collector, he or she shall be renamed a Silver Bar Stacker, when they reached out to me with information that I didn't even know. Now, I was aware of the 18 varieties. I didn't know that, hey, there's exactly 18 of them, but if you go onto a link in the description that I've got, you'll see that, hey, there are many different types of pieces that USVI Ingot Company created, including a few rounds as well, right? There's one struck round, and there's also a series of poured rounds as well, which sell at quite a premium. I mean, even the struck round sells at quite a premium. So in addition to the bars, there are rounds that need to be collected as well. So this individual here is on a mission to collect all, at least the 18 common varieties. I mean, I know there's more than 1 round, so perhaps maybe the 18 common varieties of USVI, but heck, that's a tall order, because 18, I mean, there's not 18 common varieties. There's fewer than that, but there's a lot of different variations. So I'm thinking that he or she is trying to go out there and collect all these different variations as well. Okay, now when it comes down to the different lot numbers, I mean, I'm looking at this bag of bars right here, and this bag of bars itself probably has 18 unique lot numbers just for a single bar type. So I know that this individual is not accounting for all the different lot numbers when they say that they're collecting all the 18 varieties, but I digress. We won't get bogged down into the details because we're not even trying to go over all the different 18 varieties. We don't have time to do that today, right? Right now, we just want to talk specifically about what this individual has brought to light. So let's carry on with the email and keep reading through it. Okay, it has been most interesting and challenging. Absolutely. Capturing all of the USVI Ingot Company examples is possibly an ever-ending task, right? It's something I have not accomplished. I certainly don't have all the USVI Ingot Company examples out there, but I do have quite a few, and I do have many of them available here on the website, on the silverbarstacker.com website. But it is a very, very challenging ongoing task. Now, he believes he has 11 of the 18 varieties. Wow. That is extremely impressive. I mean, I'm not even positive if I have 11 of the 18 varieties, but let's see. We'll have to do research on what those varieties exactly are, and then we can maybe on a different video kind of go over which varieties we have and which ones we don't. But we've got some technical questions here. So he's got some questions about the San Diego coin exchange bars, which if anybody knows anything about those sell at a pretty penny. I mean, we've got them priced at over $400 for a 1 ounce bar on our website right now, and they're not very easy to come by outside of that. So I mean, our silverbarstacker.com website is probably one of the only few places, I mean, outside of maybe eBay, where you would be able to find the San Diego coin exchange bars. It's a very, very scarce and elusive bar, and it's not something that's very easy to come by. And so because we specialize in USVI Ingot Company, we always want to have some San Diego coin exchange bars available. Okay, so this video, however, is not going to be about the San Diego coin exchange bars. This question that this individual had was actually related to a couple of the other types of bars that we have here on the table. Okay, so now moving on to his question, the item I'm looking for now is the A-Mark oval obverse with the Anaheim Metal Company reverse bar. Would you have one available for sale? The answer to that question, after 6 days of him waiting for the answer, is no. Unfortunately, I do not have one for sale. Now, what bar is this that he's asking? The A-Mark oval obverse with the Anaheim Metal Company reverse. What the heck does that mean? Is that just a bunch of word jumble? No, it's not a bunch of word jumble. Now, when it comes down to the USVI Ingot Company stackers, well, you got the most common variation, which is going to be your 1981 USVI Ingot Company chunky stacker. Now that's going to look like this on the front. It's going to have this little AM logo, I like to call it, on the front, and then on the back they'll actually, most of them, a vast majority of them, will be dated 1981 there on the bottom, and it says USVI Ingot Company. There's a couple other variations of this that we won't go into. We've gone over them actually on a past video. If you want to go, you can go check out the past video on these USVI Ingot Company stackers. But this is going to be your 1981, basically the most common chunky stacker that's available. Now, when he was talking to me about something, he was just asking about an A-Mark oval obverse. Obverse means the front. So an A-Mark oval obverse is going to be this next bag over. An A-Mark oval obverse is basically going to look something like this. Okay, and he's calling it an oval obverse, and I call them the oval obverse as well because it's got A-Mark inside kind of like an oval there. So I call this the oval obverse as well, the A-Mark inside the oval logo. And these ones are gonna be dated actually with 1980. So instead of 1981 on the bottom, it's gonna say 1980 on the bottom. Sorry, this is gonna say 1981 on the bottom. Why is that the case? 1981 for this one. 1980. Oh, I guess that is because this is a raised lot number. I actually never knew this. Wow. I actually never freaking knew this. A-Mark oval, so silver bar stacker. Number 2. This is something you're going to have to make note of as well. I just made note of these initially because they've got a funny looking raised lot number. Now when I say that they've got a funny looking raised lot number, if you look at this bar over here, let me take it out of the thing so you know what I'm talking about. I never realized this. I can't believe I never paid attention to this. But if you look at this, what I did pay attention to was, hey, this has got a raised lot number. So that little circle that you see that's got the lot number, and that lot number varies, right? It can look many, many different ways. But that lot number, gosh, you can't see it at all. That lot number, that circle, is actually extruded out. So if you look at it from the side, it actually is raised a little bit. Most of them will just have kind of like the circle being raised out, but then on the inside part of the circle, it's kind of pushed down. So it's just the outside of the circle is raised. For this, the entire circle, the entire circle, the face of the entire circle, the full thing is raised up. But on top of that, what makes it even more unique is that's dated 1981. Okay, so A-Mark oval logo dated 1981. Normally, the oval logos will all be dated 1980. Okay, so you got a typical one here. And this one is going to have the 1980 date stamp on the back. You see that? 1980 and 1981. But both of them are A-Mark oval logos. Okay, so this is something to note too. So this might be one of the 18 varieties that he's seeking out, but your raised lot A158S has a raised lot and also is dated 1981 instead of 1980. So that makes this extremely difficult to come by for sure. Okay, we've only got a couple of them here. I've only got a slight handful of them here. So this is something I do have available. What I do not have available, and what this individual was asking about, is actually an Anaheim Metal Company reverse. Now, some individuals may be familiar with an Anaheim Metal Company chunky stacker. That's not what he's asking about, he or she. This one right here, you see? Anaheim Metal Company. Let's take this out. Okay. Anaheim Metal Company. This one's dated 1981 as well. Okay, so this is not what he's asking about. This is an Anaheim Metal Company logo right here, but what he's asking about, or she, is asking about an Anaheim Metal Company bar on the reverse. So he's looking for an oval, A-Mark oval logo, but on the reverse, very difficult to find, is going to be this Anaheim Metal Company. So that logo that you saw on the front of that bar, that's plastered on right here on the back of the bar. And this one right here is also going to be a 1980, just like a typical oval shaped bar. Now, the reason I'm telling this individual now, and why I wanted to tell this individual that I do not have this for sale, is because I have one. I just don't have it for sale because this is the only version of this that I have. This is the only example of the A-Mark oval logo with the Anaheim Metal reverse, which is what he's asking for. And so I do not have one of these available for sale, but I do have one to show you all. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So that answers the first question that this individual had. The first question was, hey, the item I'm looking for is the A-Mark oval obverse with the Anaheim reverse. Would you have one available for sale? The answer is no. I do not have one, unfortunately, available for sale because this is my only example, and so I would like to keep this for myself. So I apologize for that. When I find more of these, if I ever find more of these, then you might find that they're available on the silverbarstacker.com website on the first come, first served basis. Okay, so that's something that's very exciting and interesting. We just uncovered and went over that, hey, there's something known as a raised lot, which is going to be A158S, and in fact, A159S bars are also going to have a raised lot. I know that's the case at least for the 1981 chunky stackers, but it might also even be the case for these A-Mark oval logo bars. So that's something that we went over for the A-Mark oval bars. Let us be done with the A-Mark 1981 bars, the A-Mark oval bars, and let's move on to the next technical question. Believe it or not, that was not the technical question. The technical question is this. This is related to the Anaheim Metal Company bars. So that's talking about the actual bars with the Anaheim Metal Company obverse, front. Okay, so let's take a look at this question. My technical question is that my understanding is the Anaheim Metal Company has both small font and large font varieties. As soon as he told me this, I was like, deer caught in the headlights. I don't know. I didn't know that this was a thing that collectors seek out. I didn't know there was small font and large font varieties. As far as I was concerned, I was just seeking out all the different lot numbers. I came to the understanding that, hey, there's some that have raised lots, and I actually just found out today, literally while we were here going over this, I literally just noticed that, hey, the raised lot numbers actually have a different date on them. So this is kind of like outside of that, and then outside of a couple variations on these 1981 AM logo stackers, that there's a couple variations like the double asterisk, the undated A-Mark Precious Metals logo bars. Outside of those few weird variations, I didn't know that people actually seek out small and large font examples. And so after I was told this, I thought, okay, well, we need to investigate. Now, it is true. There are some large font and small font variations on the Anaheim Metal Company bars. And so we'll go over that, and we'll try to answer to the best of our ability this question. Now, this individual is saying they've seen lot 190 as listed as a small font example. Now, lot 190 is something I do have an example of as well. This individual has a lot 191 of the above, and he believes it is also of the small font. Okay. And he's asking if you have any 191 Anaheim Metal Company obverses, could you give me your opinion on as to its font size? Now, here's the thing. I don't have any A191 lot numbers, so we're a little bit limited on how much I can help answering this question. I truthfully don't have any A191 lot numbers, but what I do have should be able to hopefully answer this question that has been posed by our good friend here. So the question here was, hey, I've got an A190, or I've seen an A190 online that's being marketed as a small font. I also see an A191 in my hand, which I believe is a small font. Well, I don't have any A191s to look at, so I wouldn't be able to compare an A191 to an A190. What I do have is I have an A192S. Now, I know that's not exactly the same thing, but I thought, let me go ahead and compare. Maybe the A191 will be a similar size to the font of the A190 and the A192. So I thought, hey, let's go ahead and take a deeper look at that. Maybe we can make some sort of a definitive conclusion on the font size here, because I'm not even aware that there is a large and a small font size. So I thought after this question was posed to me, I started looking at all my bars. I thought, okay, let's see if there is a variation between the font size. And my conclusion is, hey, I think these are all small font here on the higher numbers. Okay, I think the lower numbers have slightly larger font on the digits. But let's take a look at this A192S, which in my opinion has a very, very small font. This A192S, those are all written in very small digits. And if you look at the A190S, which is also marketed as a small font, in which our friend believes the A191S is a consistently sized font, I think that's a good chance about that, because if you look at this A190, that's also a very, very small digit, A190. And that's subjective. Some might say, no, that's gigantic. Those are gigantic digits compared to my unborn child. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the older variations, which in my opinion will give us a better indicator that, hey, I think actually these are of the small font variation. So let's go ahead and look at some of the older variations. And of course here we have something to deal with, and that is called raised lot numbers here. So those A158S's will not go away from us. They are here in the form of raised lot numbers, and these are going to be your 1981. So all of your Anaheim Precious Metals bars are going to be 1981, including the raised lot numbers. So it's only on the A-Mark oval bars where the raised lot numbers are a different date. That's weird. I don't know if they're all like that either. I'll have to investigate that as well, but we'll save that for another video. We don't want to get bogged down. Now, when it comes down to the way that the actual digits are written down on these lower bars, let's take a look. Let's take a look at them. I mean, you be the judge here. Let's take a look. You got the A192S, which had, in my opinion, pretty small digits. And now you're comparing it to an A162S. It's going to be an earlier variation bar. And in my opinion, the digits are a little bit larger here. So I think when it comes down to that whole large font, small font thing, there's your large font. I mean, those A162S digits are looking considerably larger than the A192S digits. And so I think here, my friend, you will have your two different font variations. And you'll also even notice, and this is the first time I'm noticing this, that you got your 1 ounce Troy stamp is much bolder here compared to here. So here's going to be your two different variations. You've got a bolder font here, whereas you've got a lighter font here. And I think when it comes down to your Anaheim Metal Company bars, this is going to be your differences between the large one and the small one. But I mean, once you collect those, the collecting and the rabbit hole does not stop there, my friend. You'll have to go ahead and collect all the different various lot numbers, which for me, I'm very, very far away from being able to do that. So, when it comes down to the rabbit hole that you can kind of go down, it's endless. It's absolutely endless, and there's not much that can be done about that, other than enjoy life and enjoy the ride, right? So let's go ahead and put these in here. We've now gone over a whole smorgasbord of variations when it comes down to these chunky bars. And I mean, hey, there's even other rare bars here. The San Diego Coin Exchange bars, which I talked about earlier, these sell at a pretty penny. Okay, and these also have different variations when it comes down to the reverses. And the only reason I'm going to mention this is because one of the most expensive USVI Ingot Company bars that I have ever purchased in my life actually also is related to what we talked about today, and that's going to be related to the Anaheim Metal Company logo, which can also be found on the reverse of the San Diego Coin Exchange bar. So this right here is the only example as well of the San Diego Coin Exchange bar that I've got with the Anaheim Metal Company reverse. Typically these will have a different type of a reverse. It'll either say 1 ounce troy or 1 troy ounce, but this is a very, very elusive variation of the San Diego Coin Exchange bar, which is already an elusive enough bar. So I hope you enjoyed this super, super nerdy breakdown of USVI Ingot Company bars. There's a lot of stuff to collect when it comes down to the USVI Ingot Company bars. This is just a selection of some of the bars. This is taken from the Archie Kane, something like that, book of art bars. And they kind of go over some of the variations here, but it's not an extensive collection. If you want to kind of get a better indicator of all the different bars and rounds that were offered by USVI Ingot Company, because there's more that you don't even think about. Some of those Monax rounds as well, the Trade Eagles, the Silver Eagles, even those were produced by USVI Ingot Company. Based off of my research, at least some of them. So there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of go down a deep rabbit hole to collect when it comes down to USVI Ingot Company, when it comes down to any refiner, any vintage refiner. But I hope this breakdown sort of gave you a little bit of an insider's look onto what sort of the more advanced collectors are seeking out when they are buying these bars. You might see a huge variance in bars, especially these USVI Ingot Company bars. You tend to see a huge variance in price, and a lot of times from an outsider's perspective that might seem very, very weird or very odd, or something might seem fishy about that. It might seem like, hey, why did something just sell at 2 times spot and then another bar just like it sold at 4 times spot? How does that make sense if it's the exact same bar? Well, if you pay close attention, sometimes it's actually not the same bar. Sometimes there's a huge difference, and those subtle variations make a huge difference for collectors who are very, very obsessive and who want every sort of example of a type of bar out there, right? When it comes down to, for example, this bar that this individual is looking for, the Anaheim Metal Company reverse, I've only got one of them, so there's not even one available for sale. Once I have one available for sale, I've purchased that other Anaheim Metal Company reverse bar. I've seen those bars, the San Diego Coin Exchange bars, sell on auction for over $400 an ounce. So if that's the price that somebody is purchasing something at, what are they going to let it go for? If they're going to let it go for. Sometimes, collectors are so tight-handed that they just don't even want to let go of things. My philosophy is that, hey, if I've got at least, a couple of them, then certainly what's the harm in getting rid of some? So anyways, I hope this breakdown was helpful for some of you. For others, hopefully this breakdown will not scare you away from getting into collecting vintage silver and will spark an interest for you in the subject. But regardless, I think everybody, needs to make an informed decision on how they want to stack. And, collecting is not for everyone. Some individuals like to keep it simple, and some individuals get bored and they just want to add another layer of fun to their stacking. So I hope you found this useful. As always, we will be going live on our Whatnot page for a nice auction later today. So there will be many deals to have. A lot of the stuff that we're liquidating, such as our fractional silver, some of our lower premium silver, that will all be available for both buy it nows and for auctions. We'll be doing a lot of penny auctions, so it'll be very, very fun. So I hope you can join us. That'll be whatnot.com/user/silverbarstacker. And if you're not able to join us, no worries. We will see you on the next episode of Silver Bar Stacker. Make sure you're following us on our socials, and we will see you next week. Cheers.